Hi, everybody. This is Cindy with Magazine Mama, and today I've got Leah with me, and she's going to introduce herself and talk about how she taught photography to kids inside a homeschool co-op. So, Leah, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, so my name's Leah. You can see on the background there. I teach a lot of online classes now too. I've been a professional photographer for, I guess, like 12 years, and started in the wedding photography industry and then gradually grew into newborns, families, and I do a lot of real estate and headshots. So my children are homeschooled, and so they were attending a homeschool co-op. And in order to do that, I had to teach a class too. And so I thought, well, I do love photography. Maybe, they'd be interested. And so I went ahead and taught a photography class that year and loved it. And then I found her templates through Magazine Mama, and it was amazing. So yeah.
Okay, great. And which template did you use to teach the co-op? Did,
I gotta remember the name.
I mean, did you for the kids or the camp or the kids for the or
It
just
was
the
a
basic
it was a camp, but I can't.
kids
It
camp
was
one?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
To look it up and see. I guess I should have looked that up ahead of time. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I could look at my email and I could probably find it.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so you use the kids camp curriculum to teach inside your homeschool co-op.
Yes.
And what were the ages of the children?
It was middle and high school, so most of my students were, say, like 13 to 18.
Oh,
I did have quite a few seniors in there too. And it was very informative. I definitely helped dive in deeper to let them see, and it saved me so much time that I didn't have to go through and recreate the wheel, and do it all over again when it was already right there for me. And then I could easily add on if I needed to.
okay, very good. Okay, so high schoolers. And then did they bring their own cameras or did some of them not have a camera? How did that work?
For the class, I required that they did have, I highly encouraged a DSLR. Most of them did bring a DSLR. Some of them had more of like a point and shoot. So that was a little bit interesting to try and figure out. And then we even actually, a few of them would forget their camera during the week and not bring it to class. And so we had to figure out a little bit how to go on manual on our iPhones or smartphones to try and figure it out too. So it was a nice learning curve for me because I'm used to my DSLR and I'm thinking, what am I gonna do? But it still worked. We made it we made it happen.
Great. And so speaking of the class, what was the structure like? Like how many weeks did the class go on? How long was each session?
Okay, so it was two semesters, so your fall semester and your spring semester. We started, I can't remember when it was, probably the last week in August, and we ended um, probably mid-May for that. And we met once a week and for about an hour, and then they would have homework that they would take home and do each week or assignments or shooting assignments, things like that, to dive in deeper to whatever we went over in class that week.
Okay, and so did you do any shooting in the class or no?
We did. We actually did, especially when we were going over like the exposure triangle and helping them understand movement and shutter speed and things like that. It was a lot of fun to jump around in the halls and try to catch that movement and do those things too. Or we would go outside, and one day I brought my kids' scooters and bikes and actually had my kids riding past them on their bikes to try and see if they could understand how to catch them in motion. So
Mhm.
it was a lot of
Oh,
fun.
very fun, very creative. Yeah, I like
Yes,
that.
yes.
And so what was the location that you had the homeschool co-op at? Was it
We were in Virginia, and it was a little church that we did the homeschool co-op in.
okay? Very good. And see, how many students were in the class total?
Hmm, I think it was about 13.
13. Okay. Is that a pretty good number, you think, like for photographers who may be wanting to do this?
Yeah, definitely. I think I probably still would have been fine with a little bit more, but I wouldn't say
Mhm.
go over 20 because then,
Mhm.
especially if you want to give that hands-on feedback to them,
Mhm.
because I definitely had to go around the room and, help them with their settings, their adjustments, and things like that to make sure they understood it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And then now, if there are photographers that are not homeschool moms, like you're a homeschool mom, so you're already kind of in the circuit, um, are homeschool groups open to photographers coming in to teach the kids, or do they want to
No,
keep?
they are. Yeah, they definitely are. Even the homeschool co-op that we attended, they still hired out teachers to do a lot of their higher academic courses and things like that. So, and actually, when we left that co-op, they were asking, "Can I still come back and just teach the class, even though my kids don't attend anymore?" So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, they're definitely interested in doing that because it was a big popularity for that class because it wasn't a huge co-op. So, 13 kids in one class. I was probably one of the biggest classes.
Oh, wow. Oh, very good. Okay. And so, if a photographer wants to do that, what's the best way that you recommend to reach out to a homeschool group? Would it be like find a Facebook group and go in there, or what would you recommend?
Yeah, Facebook groups are good, but sometimes it's hard, as you know, because you know, if they don't have that connection with you, you don't get that. So I would say if you could find at least one like homeschool parent
Mhm.
that has a child that would be in the age range you want to teach, even just do a mock class with them so
Mhm.
that way they can really start saying, "Oh my gosh, my student loved this. You guys should try it. We should do it at our co-op." So find an advocate for you
Uh-huh.
that could kind of be your in to get in there. I would
Yeah,
recommend.
that's great advice. Yeah, and so and one last question, if you're going to do it again, is there anything that you would do differently?
Um, I think the biggest thing is maybe diving in a little bit more into the history. I really liked that you provided history
Mhm.
for the camp. And I think just I thought it would have been cool to do. I don't even remember what the name of the term was, where it was that what I can't even remember the name, but it was cool because it explained how a camera actually operates.
Mhm.
And we didn't have time to do that. And I think that would have been neat and really eye-opening for them to see how the camera blah, 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 actually operates, if I can speak.
Okay. Very cool. Okay. Yeah, yeah, that's a great idea. So, okay, I think that's all the questions I have for you. Thank you so much, Leah. I really appreciate your time and your advice and interviewing with me. So, thank
Yeah,
you
thank
so
you.
much.
I appreciate it. It was an excellent curriculum.
Thank you.